Thank you for joining us this lovely Thursday evening for Sales Night with the incredible Katherine Minett, our Sales Success Specialist. Katherine is the Sales Success Specialist at Minett Sales Academy and is the creator of the Sales Confidence Formula, a transformational sales training and coaching program designed specifically for sales professionals and business owners who sell face-to-face and must make consistent sales to make commissions and increase their salary. With more than 30 years of frontline corporate sales experience, Katherine is a winner of 3 Representative of the Year awards at 3 different international companies and has consistently exceeded her sales budgets. Originally from Liverpool in the UK, Katherine now resides in sunny Brisbane. Please go ahead, Katherine.
Thank you very much, Alison. I'll share my screen now. Let me know that you can see the full proper version. Yep, cool, thank you. Okay, so what is the one thing that will sabotage your sales? There is one thing I'm going to teach you about today, and I'm going to also teach you how to, let's go back there, and what you can do to fix it. So, as Alison said, I am Katherine Minett. I am the Sales Success Specialist and founder of Minett Sales Academy and creator of the Sales Confidence Formula, which is a transformational training coaching program. And for those of you that have attended my previous training, you'll know that when you know how to do these 3 things, which is knowing the right things to think, the right things to do, and the right things to say, that is the sweet spot of selling. That is where you start making sales. And your sales can literally change overnight when you start working in these 3 areas. Now, my goal for you for today's training is, as always, I choose one of those 3 things. Teaching you the right things to think, teaching you the right things to do, and teaching you the right things to say. And today, it's all about the right things to think. So, what is the one thing that will sabotage your sales? Hopefully this lovely little pussycat will give you an idea. Any ideas? You want to shout it out or put it in the chat? Fear. Fear. Fear is the number one thing that will sabotage your sales. And I will explain why. But first of all, what is fear exactly? Well, according to psychological research, fear is a primal emotion. So we've all got it. We cannot escape from it. Even the most successful people in business and in sales have fears. And what the primal emotion does is it releases a universal biochemical response. So basically you've got hormones being released when you are triggered by fear. So that's the adrenaline and the cortisol, the stress hormones get released automatically. We cannot stop it. And a high individual of emotional responses. Individual because different people will respond differently to fear triggers, and their responses will be different because we are all individual. And so we will all have a different emotional response as well. So fear alerts us to the presence of danger or threat or harm, whether that danger is a physical danger or a psychological danger. Now, the thing is, fear is good for us. It's there to protect us. So we shouldn't really be afraid of it. But if we can understand when we have an attack of fear, if we can actually sit back or take a step back and actually look at it for what it is an automatic response for our body is trying to protect us. So we need to thank our bodies for doing that, because sometimes those fears are real. But sometimes those fears are imagined. And this is the problem area. It's the imagined fears that cause a lot of business owners and salespeople to sabotage their sales. So what do I mean by that? Well, what is a real fear? This is a real fear. If you've got this big fairy beast chasing after you, then your body's going to click into that fear response. You're going to have the emotional triggers, and your heart's going to race, and your blood will go down to your legs so that you can run fast. But here's a tip, by the way. If you are ever facing a bear chasing you, then you should never run, because the bear is listen, I've got beer on the brain. The bear is more likely to chase you. So what you need to do is actually sort of walk back very slowly and never turn your back on a bear. So that is just an extra little tip if you happen to be heading over to America, if you're already in America, or you're going to Canada where there are bears. Don't run. So the body will automatically respond with this fight, flight, or freeze. And it's probably the freezing is probably a good one when the bear's coming after you. But the problem is that imagined fear. So what is the imagined fear? The imagined fear is the one that many people have when they have to get up and present, when they need to do a sales presentation, or even people who have to get up and do the eulogy at the funeral. It's said that people would prefer to be in the coffin than giving the eulogy. So this is an unreasonable imagined fear, but the body doesn't know the difference. So if you have fears around presenting or selling or whatever your fear is, this is an imagined fear. You're not going to be killed by the audience. They're not going to chase after you and hunt you down like the bear. So that's the difference. But the problem is that people who have this fear of presenting, fear of talking to people, talking about their products, it will sabotage your sales because it will stop you from moving forward. And I've coined this term, the sales sabotaging syndrome. So let me dive a bit deeper into what that's all about. So it all starts with the thought. So something might happen. You might see a bear. You might feel something on your leg, crawling up your leg. Whatever it is, there'll be a stimulus. And then you have a thought about it. Now, thoughts can be positive and they can be negative. So many people, this is very common, have these sort of thoughts going on in the head. And we can't control our thoughts. They will just pop up. It'll be that monkey mind, that chatter that's happening all the time. Things like, I can't do this, or I'm not worthy, or I've got to be perfect. So if any of you are perfectionists, this might be a common thought that you have in your head. A very, very common one is I'm not good enough. And that is a big fear as a thought, and it causes people to not step forward to be able to grow their business. So maybe it's good to be able to identify what is it that you will regularly say to yourself. And there will be one or more of those words, I'm sure, that you will be saying to yourself. No one is immune to this. So the good thing is it's perfectly normal. So you are normal if you're having any negative thoughts. So what happens after we have a negative thought or a positive thought? Well, then it triggers the emotion related to that thought. Now, the emotion varies depending on the thought. So if the thought is one of putting yourself down, that you're not good enough, then you might look a little bit like the lady on the top left there with the blue shirt. Or if it's something that it's like shocked you or you're afraid, it might be the woman, the second one in there with the stripy shirt. Or even the lady on the bottom row, third one to the right there, well, moving from the left to right, the third one with the stripy shirt and the yellow t-shirt, that sort of, oh my goodness, thought, emotion. So the thoughts trigger the emotions, whether they're good emotions, happy, joy, playful emotions, or whether they're fear, stress, anxiety emotions. And remember, these are having a biochemical response on the body. The next thing that happens is based on the emotions. This will then affect what actions you take. So if you've got positive thoughts and positive emotions and you think I'm great, I can do this, your emotions are positive, you're feeling really, you're feeling strong and confident, then you're more likely to take positive actions towards growing your business and making sales, such as picking the phone up to make cold calls, for example, or following up with potential clients, knocking on the door. If you do a door knocking activity to be like real estate people have to, service providers who sell to homeowners, they have to go door knocking. Or maybe it's for business owners who need to make social media content and you need to get behind the camera and put content out. You're more likely to do it if you've got positive thoughts, positive emotions. You're more likely to take those positive actions. And of course, as I mentioned before, then being able to get up and present at conferences and summits and workshops. But if those thoughts and emotions are negative, then you are not going to be taking these actions. Or even if you do some of the actions, then you're not doing them consistently. So what happens then? Well, you get the outcome or the results based on the amount of actions that you've done or not done. So in this situation, the lady who hasn't, she's obviously looking a bit distressed there, bit of a stress in her neck, because she's feeling the pressure from maybe not taking the action she needed to do. So she's not getting the sales and she's not growing the business like she hoped she would. Compared to someone who has positive thoughts, positive emotions, takes positive action, the outcomes are going to be positive. So whichever way it is, there's always going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what do I mean by that? Well, if your thoughts and emotions are always negative and you're beating yourself up with that self-doubt and fear, the problem is your results are going to start spiraling downwards. So you're not going to take the actions needed to get the outcomes that you really want. You're not going to hit your sales targets. You're not going to get enough sales. You're not going to get enough customers. Maybe you won't be getting repeat business. And as we turn it around, if we change those thoughts into positive thoughts, we have positive emotions, which means we're more likely to take the positive actions, then the self-fulfilling prophecy is you're going to start getting better results. And the more consistent you are with your actions, the better the results you're going to get. So it begs the question, how do we manage these fears? So the first thing I always say is you have to remember confidence is an important skill to have when it comes to being able to overcome your fear and to take action in some of those activities that you might be avoiding. But what comes before confidence is courage, because you can't just go out and buy confidence. You have to actually gain confidence by taking action. So how do you take action when you're fearful? You need courage to be able to step forward and take the action. So courage is the secret sauce that you need to start with. Now, some of the ways we can start helping develop that courage is using techniques like reframing. Now, I talked about reframing a couple of weeks on over, let's say a couple of weeks, probably about 6 weeks ago. So if you go back, if you want to go back to some of the previous training, I did a lesson about reframing for your positive self-talk. And reframing is all about changing the language from fear language into courageous language. So being able to reframe the stories that are going on in your head. Then you've got affirmations. So we've all heard of affirmations, and they're really good for short-term switching off, and it's a short-term repeating positive affirmations to get you into the right frame of mind. And they are really useful tool to do in the moment of fear hitting. If you're just about to get onto stage and you've got a fear strike, you can then use affirmations to be able to change your thinking and to help you to keep moving forward. And of course, taking action. Once you've got your courage to build up the confidence, taking action is what will help you build confidence in any skill, whether it's sales, whether it's marketing, whether it's whatever it is for your business. Maybe if it might be creating content, editing videos, whatever skill it is, the way to get confident and good at doing it is to take the action and just lean into the fear and do it anyway. Now, some people struggle with, well, how do I get started? This is what I hear. I can't get started. And that's how do you take that first step? And I love Mel Robbins. I don't know if anybody here has heard of Mel Robbins. She's a motivational speaker, coach, and she has a book called The 5-Second Rule. And in her 5-second rule, what she suggests you do is when you're procrastinating and you're stopping from getting up out of bed in the morning to go to the gym, or whether you're reluctant to pick up the phone and make that difficult phone call, or whether you're struggling to go and knock on doors, whatever it is, use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then launch. Just go and do it. And you have to do it within 5 seconds, because the brain will start talking, you know, that negative talk, that brain will start talking to you, and it'll talk you out of doing the thing that you fear. You've got 5 seconds to take action, or you won't take action. It'll be an uphill battle. So I highly recommend the next time you're struggling, use the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 launch. Now, another technique I've recently learned about by Russ Harris, who's a fellow Scouser, actually, fellow Liverpool person. He has the book, The Happiness Trap, which I highly recommend that you read. It's very, very good. I'm listening to it on audio at the moment. He has a technique called the ACE technique, which he refers to as dropping the anchor. And how that works, ACE stands for A, acknowledge your thoughts and feelings. So if you're having a fear on doing something, acknowledge it. Any emotion at all. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling anxious, whatever the feelings are, acknowledge it. So we're not hiding it and trying to run away from it. We want to acknowledge it and name it. So for example, if you're feeling anxious about doing a presentation, then say, when you feel that feeling come up, acknowledge it and say, oh, there's that anxiety. I can feel it coming up. And then I want you to do is, when you feel that anxiety, you name it as anxiety. Then you want to connect with your body, and then you engage in what you're going to do. So connecting your body is about, where is it sitting? Where is that anxiety sitting in your body? Is it in your throat? Is it in your chest? Is it in your stomach? Maybe it's in the back of your neck. Where is that anxiety sitting for you? Be conscious of the body and connect with it. Then you want to connect with your body, move your body. So you're thinking about the anxiety, but you're connecting with your body. Maybe you stretch. Maybe you just flex your feet backwards and forwards. Maybe you sit up straight in the chair, but start to feel and connect with your body as you're thinking about the emotion that you're feeling. So we're not running away from the feeling, we're acknowledging it and we are embracing it. And then E stands for engage. Then engage in what you're doing. So if you're about to do a presentation, or you're about to pick up the phone, then get focused on exactly what you need to do next to start moving forward. And the idea is, you're not smothering that emotion. You're acknowledging it for what it is. It's, thank you, body. You are protecting me from something that you think is dangerous to me. But don't worry, don't worry, because I'm only doing a presentation and this is going to be good for me. I'm not going to be hurt by it, but thank you. So you thank the body, you acknowledge where it is in your body, you move your body, and then you move on with engaging with the task at hand. And you might need to use that 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 in conjunction to help you step forward. So that's a really good technique to try and use next time you're facing fear. So just to wrap up, do the thing that you fear the most, and the death of fear is certain. And that is a great quote by Mark Twain. Now, a special gift I have for you today is it's the 5 fear-busting techniques. So I've got 5 more techniques that I've put together in a PDF for you that you can download. It's the value of $197. So grab your phones, scan the QR code, and I'll put this in the chat box in a minute as well, minettsalesacademy.com/fear-busting-techniques. So that is, I think it's about a 9-page PDF with 5 techniques in addition to what you've learned in this training that you can use immediately to start overcoming fear when it comes up. And remember, even the most successful people in business and in sales, they suffer from fears and anxiety. The difference is they've learned the skills and the techniques to be able to manage them when they come up, so they don't let fear sabotage their sales success. So that's the one thing that will sabotage your sales. It's fear. And now you know exactly what you need to do to fix it. So there's the link if you want some more techniques, and I'll pop that in the chat box. And does anyone have any questions?
Either raise your hand or just unmute yourself, and feel free to ask Katherine any questions before we move on tonight.
I think it just comes down to practice, really.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The more you do anything, it removes the fear. So if you're afraid to, let's say, I started podcasting 12 months ago. So I decided last year, beginning of last year, right, this year, 2023, I was going to go and do podcasting. And I'd never done podcasting before. So that was a very new skill to me. I didn't know really what I was doing, but I thought, you know.
You mean recording your own podcasts? You mean doing your own podcasts or being a guest on a podcast?
Well, actually, the first person I got booked to be on as a guest invited me to co-host. So for most of 2023, I actually was co-hosting with someone else, which I wasn't planning, but I did it anyway. And then I realized at the end, I thought, I don't want to be co-hosting a podcast. I'd rather be the guest on a podcast because there's a lot of work involved with running your own podcast. So now I focus on being the guest. But I remember the first time I was on, I was very nervous. I found out what the questions were. I wrote them all out and practiced them. And it was very robotic. I wasn't natural because I was nervous doing it, but I did it. But now I've probably done about 20 or 25 or so podcasts now that I don't have to prepare too much. I mean, I still prepare, obviously, but I don't have that anxiety. If someone said to me, can you get on and do a podcast? Or even like last Tuesday, on Tuesday, was it Tuesday? No, Wednesday. When was it? When was the Be Connected? Wednesday. Was it yesterday? Yesterday morning, we had, it was Tuesday morning. We had Be Connected. Well, the trainer, whoever it was, didn't turn up. And they said, Alan said, Katherine, can you get on and do the training? I said, just give me 5 minutes because I had to think about what I was going to say. And so because I'm so used to teaching and training and being live on camera now, it doesn't bother me. I just needed 5 minutes to collect my thoughts, but I was able to go bang and do it. But I couldn't have done that, years ago because I didn't have the confidence and I hadn't practiced doing it. So yeah, the more you do it, the easier it gets. So that's why we always say, lean into your fear, do it, take action and do it. And it will feel awkward, whatever it is you're doing, it will feel awkward, but only for the first few times. And then after that, you get better at it. So.
Wonderful. Incredible as usual. Make sure that everyone downloads that free resource that Katherine has given us in the chat as well. Incredible as always.
Thank you.